Mrs. Richter, with this money, you could have lived comfortably, traveled, and enjoyed your retirement. Instead, you completely financed the lives of 2 adults who didn't even respect you enough to invite you to their wedding. When I left Mr. Weber's office, I had a complete plan. First, I would change all the locks on my house. Second, I would install a security system with cameras to protect myself from future surprise visits. Third, I would open a new bank account at a different bank where they had no contact. And fourth, I would start living the life I had postponed for years. My next stop was the hardware store. The owner, Mr. Summer, had known me for years because I was always buying things to fix Max and Lena's apartment. This time was different. Mrs. RTR, what brings you here today? Another emergency with your son? He asked with the familiarity of a person who had silently witnessed my wasted generosity. No, Mr. Summer. This time it's for my own house. I need to change all the locks, and I want them to be of the best quality. He looked at me surprised, but asked no questions. While I was choosing the locks, his son Ethan, who installed security systems, came by. It was Providence in action. Ethan, I told him, I also need to install surveillance cameras, the complete system. The price is not an issue. While they were preparing everything for the installation the next day, I received a call from an unknown number. It was Lena calling from someone else's phone because I had blocked her number after the previous day's confrontation. Renata, it's Lena. Please don't hang up. We need to talk like civilized adults. Speak, I said dryly. Listen, I understand you're upset about the wedding. It was a mistake. Max and I have talked about it, and we want to make it up to you. How about we have a special dinner to celebrate our wedding with you? We can do it at your house. Cook together like we used to. The manipulation in her words was so obvious that I almost had to laugh. Lena, how much rent do you owe exactly? The silence on the other end confirmed that I had hit a nerve. Well, it's 2 months. $1,000 total. But I'm not just calling for that, Renati. We really miss you in our lives. Do you miss me or my money? I asked directly. Both, she replied with a surprising honesty. Rena, I won't lie to you. Yes, we need your financial help, but we love you too. You're important to us. If I'm so important, I said, why wasn't I important enough to be at your wedding? Why am I not important enough to get a call that doesn't ask for money? When was the last time you called me just to ask how I was doing? Another silence. We both knew the answer. Never. Lena, I'm only going to explain this to you once. For 3 years, you have treated me like an ATM with feelings. You used me. You ignored me. You humiliated me. And finally, you insulted me in the worst possible way. Now that the money is running out, you suddenly discover you love me. Reno, please. I cut her off. There is no please. You made your choice when you decided I wasn't special enough to be at your wedding. Now I'm making mine. I hung up and turned the phone off completely. I didn't want any more interruptions on my day of liberation. That afternoon, I went to the beauty salon I hadn't been to in over a year. I always cancelled my appointments because Max or Lena needed something urgent, or because the money I had set aside for myself became an emergency for them. Mrs. Richter, my favorite hairstylist, Cynthia called out, "What a surprise. I thought you had forgotten us." I didn't forget you, Cynthia. I just forgot that I also deserve to be pampered. I treated myself to the full treatment. Cut, color, manicure, pedicure. For the first time in years, I spent money on myself without feeling guilty. While Cynthia worked on my hair, she told me about her life, her children, her dreams. It was refreshing to have a conversation that didn't revolve around Max and Lena's needs. "You look beautiful, Mrs. Richter," she said when she was done. "But more than that, you look free. Did something good happen?" "Yes, Cynthia. I finally learned to say no." When I got home that afternoon, there was a car in front of my door that I didn't recognize. My heart raced for a moment, thinking Max and Lena might have come back with reinforcements. But as I got closer, I saw an older woman sitting on the steps of my porch. Mrs. Richter, she asked as I got out of the car. Yes, that's me. Can I help you? I'm Elena Brooks. I live next door. We've been neighbors for years, but we've never had a chance to talk. Yesterday, I heard very loud voices in your house, and I got worried. Is everything okay? Her sincere concern touched me deeply. Here was a stranger who showed more interest in my well-being than my own son. Come in, Mrs. Brooks. I'll make you a coffee, and I'll tell you a story you won't believe. While I was making coffee, I told her the whole situation. Eleanor listened without interrupting, nodding occasionally, and when I finished my story, her eyes were filled with tears. Mrs. Richter, she said, you did the right thing. I went through something similar with my daughter 5 years ago. I also thought it was my duty to finance her adult life. I also believed they wouldn't love me if I didn't give them money. What happened? I cut off the money when I realized they only called me when they needed something. At first it was terrible. They threatened me, emotionally, blackmailed me, tried to make me feel guilty. But after 6 months, my daughter called to genuinely apologize. Now we have a real relationship based on love, not on money. Her words gave me hope and confirmed that I had made the right decision. Do you think Max and Lena will understand one day? Maybe yes, maybe no, she answered honestly. But that's no longer your responsibility, Mrs. Richter. Your responsibility now is to live your own life. That night, for the first time in 3 years, I went to bed without worrying about whether Max and Lena had money for rent, for food, for their whims. I went to bed thinking about myself, my plans, my future, and I slept better than I had in years. The next day, Ethan and Mr. Summer came at 8 hours in the morning to change the locks and install the security system. While they worked, my phone didn't stop ringing from unknown numbers. Lena was still trying to contact me from different phones. But I had developed a new skill, completely ignoring calls that didn't suit me. Mrs. Richter, Ethan said as he installed the cameras, this system will give you absolute peace of mind. You can see from your phone who is coming to your house even when you're not here. And if someone breaks in without permission, an alert is automatically sent to the police. The irony was not lost on me. I was installing a security system to protect myself from my own son, but it didn't hurt as much as it used to. It was simply a practical measure to maintain my newfound peace. While they were working, I decided to do something I hadn't done in years. Call my sister Diana in Chicago. We had lost touch because every time we talked, I would tell her about Max and Lena's successes, about how much money I had spent on them, about how proud I was to be able to help them. I now realized that our conversations had become financial reports disguised as family news. Renade, Diana answered, surprised. Sister, how are you? We haven't spoken in months. I'm good, Diana. Better than good. I'm calling you to tell you that I've finally come to my senses. I told her the whole story from the beginning. The secret wedding, the humiliation, the visit with the lawyer, my decision to cut off the funding. Diana listened to me in silence, and when I was done, her answer surprised me. Renade's sister, it was about time. Every time we spoke, it broke my heart to hear you brag about how much money you gave them, as if love could be measured in dollars. I wanted to tell you something, but I didn't know how. What did you want to tell me? That Max never spoke lovingly about you when I saw him at family gatherings. It was always my mom helped me with this, or my mom bought me that, but never. I miss my mom, or I love my mom. It was as if you were a service provider, not a person. Her words hurt, but it was a necessary pain. Like when a doctor cleans an infected wound, it hurts, but it's part of the healing. You know what else I noticed? Diana continued. Lena always spoke about you in the future tense. When Renate is no longer here, we can remodel her house, or when we inherit, we will invest in the business. As if they were waiting for you to die, to really live. This revelation hit me like a bucket of ice water. They didn't just see me as an ATM. They saw me as a temporary obstacle between them and their money. While I was trying to make them happy, they were planning their future without me. After talking with Diana, I sat in my kitchen processing all this information. Years of marriage to a man who truly loved me. 35 years of raising my son alone after my husband's death, and 3 years of financing 2 adults who saw me as a $100,000 obstacle. The doorbell rang, and on the new cameras, I saw it was Elena with a mug in her hands. I opened the door and she handed me a fresh brewed coffee. "I thought you might need some company after everything you told me yesterday," she said, with that sincere smile I had already come to appreciate. We sat in my living room, and Eleanor told me more details from her own experience. "My daughter said the exact same thing to me that Lena says to you. You're like a second mom to me. We're special to you. Everything will be ours one day anyway." Those are rehearsed phrases, Mrs. Richter. They learned them from the Emotional Manipulation Handbook. "Do you think such a handbook exists?" I asked half jokingly. "Not officially, but it seems everyone reads from the same book. Chapter 1 is Make Her Feel Indispensable.